We'll see if we can get a face cam going here. I'm not entirely sure if that will happen. But if not, kind of want to go work on what's it called? I don't even remember what we called our build system. Skyne. I do want to work on Skyne a little bit. And of course, with Skyne is Deskyne. So what I want to do here now, so it really is just like Alacrity dying. Whoa, what's going on? Huh. I can't, Okay, I guess we'll just work with multiple terminals. That's fine. A small price to pay. Okay, so in here, right, if I do cat, this thing, we have this very nice Skyne file, right? And what we want to do is, you might notice I have some stuff open here. This is whatever. Oh gosh, switch through 14 desktops. What I want to do is I want to begin to isolate these builds even more. I think build isolation is something we should really focus on early on, because I think it makes the later things much easier, right? So we've kind of achieved level 1 of build isolation. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna remove we added this numbers import here. I'm gonna remove that, and I'm gonna remove this, right? And that way, I create a new terminal here. When I do this, I just get my regular Skyne thing. I don't get, what do you call it? I don't get any things, because I want that isolation layer. Oh, or I want that as my test of like, oh, I imported my code, but it doesn't work right. So I can do. Actually, I should have just removed. Right, so that I can always have this fail. Okay, cool. But I want one more level of just my mic here. I want one more level of isolation. So right now, this isolation level that we have, which is basically saying like, if I open up yet another terminal here, right, cd/temp we have this here, and so we can see, cool. We have our isolation level is literally these files, right? But what if I go into here, right, and I say main.py, and following good Python standards, I guess. What I want to do is I want to say import right, and print np dot as pandas, right, pandas, pd, it's like pandas on data frame, right? Something like that. Okay, yeah. So you can see this Python 3 main.py empty data frame, right? And just for testing here, because we know that local code, if we don't import it properly in our Skyne file, it doesn't work. So if I just remove the random printing, Python 3 main.py, cool. If I run this, you can see, hey, empty data frame. While this is correct behavior, this is also incorrect behavior. Correct behavior in the sense that the app works. Incorrect behavior that we're not isolated, right? The problem we have here is I have pandas installed on my machine, right? If I do pip freeze, it's gonna be a crap ton, right? I have some version of pandas installed on my computer, right? I have a whole I have all of these packages installed, right? And if my program relies on any of these, it'll get it because it's on my machine. However, I don't want that. I want this to fail here and say, I want it to actually fail on line 1 and say, hey, there's no such thing as pandas because you haven't installed it, right? So we want to kind of expand our dependencies to include these these external dependencies where we are no longer building like just code that's relative to us, but we can pull in other packages, do whatever we want from the outside, which is cool. The other thing we want is complete isolation from the machine we are running on. Now, there are a few ways to do that. We can reuse like chroots and all of these things, or we can go the easy way and use Docker, right? Okay, and maybe I shouldn't say Docker. Maybe I should say we can use some containerization method, like some open container format. So I was looking at this, build your own OCI container. Now OCI is the Open Container Initiative. So they have like a whole spec, right? They have a runtime spec, a distribution spec, image spec. Excuse me. And as cool as it would, and so maybe what Skyne is not so much a generic like build system where it's just like, oh yeah, I just build and run anything. it can be a build system revolved around Docker, where it's a build system revolved around reproducibility and determinism, right? Which is kind of what Bazel advertises itself at. But again, I want to keep the simplicity uh, very high, right? I want lots of simplicity. So I'm looking at this like spec here. And it seems like to implement this spec, there's like a lot of work involved. So I don't want to implement the spec. What I think I would rather do is like I know there's tools like Podman, right? Oops. I guess I can go to GitHub. Can Docker run an OCI image? Can Docker run OCI image? I just need a yes or no. Given an OCI image and container runtime that implements the OCI runtime specification, can unbundle the image and its contents and runs content in an isolated environment. Docker donated its runtime runs the stop putting links to the OCI to serve as a file for some petition standards. So I guess Docker can run OCI images. Okay. Well, okay. We won't look into all these different container things. We'll look into just Docker. I think maybe that's a better way of approaching this problem is just looking at Docker. Um, um, how do you get GitHub stats? What? I want to GitHub stats. Change the username to your GitHub username. Okay. I'm going to be A plus. Trash, dude. Trash. Okay, so we'll just use Docker. So how do we want to use Docker here? Let's look at our VSP added app.sky. So what we have here is a tree here. We have our source code, right? This is great. Now what we want to do is we want to say, and we have a way to run the app, right? Fantastic. Now what we want to do is we want to say, okay, we have a way to, I have my desk creaking so much. It's because it's like against the wall or something. So we have a way to run the app. We have all the files needed for our app. Now we want to say, how, what is our base for this, which is our Docker base image. So like here we'd want a Python 3 Docker, right? And there's a whole bunch of Docker images here. We can take, what is it, 3.8, yeah, like 3.8.5 Buster Slim or whatever, this one. Thanks, Docker website. This. We want to take our base image, right? And so, like, if we were to write a Docker file for this, let's try to build a Docker file without using Skynet. So we'd say from GOC install. I know there's a if you do this, it becomes really nice because you can do from see, yeah, oh yeah, 8.5. Let's go with Slim Buster. I want to use the Debian image because I don't want to use Alpine to avoid any complications, right? And what's their example Docker file? So they automatically set a work tier, right? We can do this in our app as well. We can automatically set the work tier, right? User source app makes sense. We'll actually leave it there. Now there's a whole bunch of copy requirements, .text and stuff. We don't have that. We don't have any pip installs yet. And the last thing is copy. So copy. And then let's not do a command yet. Actually, if we did a command, what would it be? It would be cmd right. -t. Okay, and this is exactly the behavior we want, right? No module named pandas. So if I go to this, Cool, right? Very simple behavior. So, what do we have here? Not this. What do we have here? We have some base. So, I'm just trying to from base. I'm actually happy keeping this here at like user source app. Copy the entire source. We have all of our source files there. CMD is like is like a list split like that or something. Right? This is our template, and then oh, food's here. Okay. This is exciting because what we want to do is we want to say right here is where we want to install our dependencies, right? And we want to install dependencies in a specific order, right? We want to install it, I think, does it matter actually? Maybe it does. We want to install all of our library, like the most bottom library dependencies all the way up to the top, right? So eventually we'll add a dependency to like our number, our things library. So we'll see it install that, then we'll install ours, then so forth, right? Um, okay. YouTube was recommending like I watch a church live stream. It was kind of interesting. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, let's open up our Skyne program itself. So here we have copy files in temp directory with structure. Awesome. Now what we want to do is build a Docker file for our application. So what am I going to do? Actually, now that I've planned this out, I know what I want to do. I'm going to go eat food and I'll resume the stream